Let me open SSMS. It's a SQL Server Management tool, which is used to like a to run SQL queries or to do the practice of SQL. We can use it as this like environment. So here the first, as we discussed in yesterday class, the server type we need to take it as a database engine. The server name by default it will come. It's your machine name and authentication basis. If we select it as a Windows authentication, we no need to provide the username and password. If you select it as a SQL Server authentication, we need to provide it as a username and password in real-time environment basis. If you choose it as a in real-time environment basis, we will go with the SQL Server authentication only. There, the username and password it will created by DBA team, database administration team. Okay, now like for our doing practicing basis, for our doing practicing point of view, let's say I'm selecting here it as a Windows authentication. And then I'm simply click on connect. It is opening. This is the environment. So as we discussed in this environment basis, like we can implement any of the approach in two ways. Like one is GUI operation, second one is query representation. So query representation, if we learn, we can able to work with other databases also. If we learn GUI based, option based, if we learn something that, we can able to implement only in this is the environment, SQL Server environment. So we cannot able to handle other databases. Such a reason we will learn completely query based. Next one here is databases. First option here is databases. So the databases we can use to store the data in organized way, in proper format, proper structured format basis to storing the data point of view. We can use it as a databases. We can use it as a databases. So in this databases point of view, we can create it as a several objects. We can create tables, so we can create views, we can create indexes, stored procedures, blah blah blah, like a various kind of database objects we can create under database. So these databases, it is categorized into two types. One is system defined databases. Second one is user defined databases. So the system defined databases is nothing but which is like a by default whenever we installing the SQL Server itself, we will get those databases. We can call it as a predefined databases or system defined databases, or we can call it as system defined databases or predefined databases. So whatever the databases we will create for our flexibility, those we can call it as a user defined databases. These system defined databases, again, it is categorized into five types. Five types. One is master database, second one is model database, MSDB, TempDB, resource DB. Is five are the system defined databases. In that five, four are the visible database, one is the hidden database. Resource DB is the hidden database. This we can use for only read-only purpose. We cannot use for write permissions. It is hidden database. Resource DB is the hidden database. Okay. Now, in this, already we have in yesterday class itself, we have listed all these databases. You can keep hitting master database. Keep heading master database. Keep heading master database. Master database is a primary database to the SQL Server engine. Master database is a primary database to the SQL Server engine. Next point. If in case the master database is corrupted, if in case the master database is corrupted, SQL Server, it will not open to us. The SQL Server, it is not open to us. Next point. The master database will store complete server level information. Complete server level information. Complete server level information like configuration details, authentication details, authentication details, configuration details, authentication details, and other databases metadata information. Metadata information. Okay, listen. So this master database, we are calling it as a primary database. Why? Because of, if you read that last point, here it is having the authentication information. Authentications is nothing but login details. If master database is corrupted, your login details will be loose. Automatically, it will be deleted or it will be corrupted. So the SQL Server engine, it won't allow to you to log in. Okay. So if master database is corrupted, the configuration details also we will use. So we are losing the configuration details. We are losing the authentication of information. authentication of information. Other databases information also high level basis, it will store the information under master database only, like whom it is created, whom the other database is created, like when it is created, where the other databases it is storing, where the other databases it is storing, that high level information, it will store under master database only. That high level information, it will store under master database only. Okay. Next one, keep heading MSDB. It's clear? Next one, keep heading MSDB or MSDB. MSDB. This we can use to store the SQL Server agent, to store the SQL Server agent related jobs information, jobs information, jobs information, backup and restore information or history, backup and restore history, alerts notifications, alerts notifications, and so on. Okay, listen. So assume in SQL Server basis, we have created it as a one stored procedure. Or assume instead of stored procedure and all, like a few of the people don't know that concepts. So like simply we can say that I have written it as a one query. That query I need to execute daily basis. That query, it need to execute daily basis. For that, I need to make it as a schedule. So it need to execute daily 12 a.m., daily 12 p.m. Like that, it need to execute like a daily 12 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m. Any of the time, it's a daily basis it need to execute. Or few of the queries, it need to execute it as a weekly wise. So that if you want to implement that scheduling, if you want to implement, we can go with as a SQL Server agent. Last option, last second one, SQL Server agent. So that scheduling, whatever the thing we will make it, that scheduling we can call it as a job. The scheduling operation name we can call it as a job. Let's say, for example, daily I want written like I'm making it as a one sentence. Daily you need to execute 12 a.m. Okay, so that is one job. Like a daily you need to execute 6 p.m. It's second job. Okay, so that jobs we can implement under SQL Server agent. SQL Server agent. This jobs creation and all, like we can alerts, these operations. Here it is the right error log information. This complete information, this SQL Server related complete information, it will store under MSDB. It will store under MSDB. MSDB. So this MSDB, like we can use it as a to store the job related information, jobs, alerts, jobs. Majorly, we can say that jobs information. So here, if we observe the few of the tables also, it's completely, it will provide that backup of information, log information, like the SQL Server related point of view, the number of jobs information, alerts information, these kind of things. Like if you want to configure it as a mail notifications, that also we can able to implement. That also we can able to implement with the help of this MSDB. Okay, here it will store such kind of information. Okay. Next one, keep heading model database. Up to this, any doubt from anyone? Any doubt from anyone? Right? Okay. Next one, keep heading model DB. Model DB. Model DB we can use to store the templates. To store the templates. Next point. The templates we can use the templates we can use to creating same structure of objects on newly created databases to created to creating newly create sorry same structure of objects on newly created databases. Okay, listen. So template, like everywhere we will heard this word. Template is nothing but it's a predefined format. Predefined format. Let's see, like instead of going subject, just we will go with as the example is letterhead. Is we can say it as one template. That template, what we are doing, like a wherever we want, whenever the liars, any persons whom it is prepared, that person, if you want, that we can use it. So same like if I create one table, that table it need to by default, if you want to get in all the upcoming databases point of view, then we can go with as a like a this model database. Like let's say under this model database, if we create any kind of table, stored procedure, function, any kind of object, that automatically it will display in upcoming databases, not existing databases. Okay, upcoming databases. In future, whatever the databases we will create, and that it will display. So that point also clearly I have mentioned on newly created databases. So these are the databases. It's existing. It is there. Few of the databases here. In this existing databases point of view, it won't display the tables. If we create any kind of now, if we create any kind of table now on model database, that it will display like a upcoming databases point of view. Existing databases point of view, it won't store the information. It won't display that information. Okay, it's just to storing the templates, predefined formats for upcoming databases. Clear? Next one, keep heading TempDB. 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 TempDB is a is TempDB is an is a or is an temporary database temporary database. This we can use to store. This we can use to store temporary results, temporary results, temporary tables, and so on. Next point. Whenever the SQL Server is restarted, whenever the SQL Server is restarted, whenever the SQL Server is restarted, all the temporary objects, all the temporary objects will be deleted automatically. All the temporary objects will be deleted automatically. All the temporary objects will be deleted automatically. Listen. So this is like if you store any of the information, if you store any of the information under this temporary TempDB or temporary database, once you close this SQL server and if you open again, all the temporary objects, it will be deleted automatically. Automatically, it will delete. So then what is the use of these? These like we can use to improve the performance. This we can use it as a to improving the performance. Write it the same byte. This we can use to improving the performance of queries. So here few of the people will get it as a doubt. So it's storing it as a temporary prospects, but how it will give the performance of our SQL query. So instead of storing all object like a directly, like few of the objects we can use it as a temporary prospects. At the time it will like the memory space, it will go with that point of view. Memory usage is go less. And the second one is like instead of hitting the main tables, we can create it as a one temporary table, and temporary table point of view, we can give the access to all the people. So that time also the like a main table point of view, it won't hit the all the people. The temporary basis, it will hit that people. So the main object point of view, automatically it will improve the performance. The detailed examples I will explain whenever we will go with the topic is temporary database, temporary tables, temporary tables. Next one is resource DB. Resource DB. Resource DB is a hidden database. Hidden database. This directly we cannot able to see. This directly we cannot able to see. This directly we cannot able to see in Visual Studio. Next point. This is an just read only data. This is an read only database. A read only database. Read only database. Next point. This resource DB will store all the system defined objects. This resource DB will store all the system defined objects like system defined stored procedures, system defined tables, system defined tables, system defined views, and so on. System defined views and so on. Okay. So listen here. So like in this system defined databases point of view, we will get like a usually it is having 4 system defined databases which is visible to us. Overall, we can say that 5 system defined databases we have. In that Four are the visible databases. One is like a hidden database. Hidden database. That hidden database is resource DB. That resource DB will store only system defined related information, system defined objects, system defined stored procedures, system defined views, like that predefined functionality the Microsoft people is implementing under resource DB, that we can able to use, but we cannot able to perform it as a write operation. It means to say on top of it we cannot able to do like creating the tables, we cannot able to do creating the views, stored procedures and all. Just like whatever the data we want, that we can able to fetch from resource DB, that we can able to fetch from resource DB. Okay, so like what kind of data it will have, like a anal, like simple example, if we create any kind of tables in stored procedure, sorry, in any kind of tables, n number of tables in stored database, that tables information if you want to fetch, that tables information if you want to fetch, that and all it will store under resource DB only. That we can fetch it, high level information basis we can fetch it. Okay, we will see automatically, like in upcoming classes, we will get to know that automatically that usage of it. Whenever we are discussing views, whenever we are discussing temp table, we will get to know the purpose of TempDB. So remaining three databases, we won't use it as a much. We won't use it as a much, like that is predefined databases. Like based on the requirement, whenever we will come, then we only use that. Like most of the scenarios in real time, we won't touch these three databases. Rarely we can touch with the MSDB for scheduling point of view. Remaining two databases, we won't touch it. Okay, so now first one, like next one, keep heading user defined database. User defined databases. Which are the databases? Which are the databases we will create? Which are the databases we will create? Which are the databases we will create? Those we can call it as which of the databases we will create, those we can call it as user defined databases. User defined databases. Those we can call it as user defined databases. User defined databases. Okay, so let's say now I'm thinking to create one user defined database. One user defined database. So here we can, as we discussed, like two ways we can create. One is GUI and second one is query based. So in real time perspective, the database creation and all it will take care by DBA team, database administration team. But here ourselves we need to learn. That is very simple step also. So now by using option, I'm thinking to create the database. Both the ways I will explain. First, I'm thinking to create with the help of options. Wait, it's not responding. So right click on that particular database, click on new database, click on new database. Here we need to enter the database name. Here we need to enter the database name. Here we need to enter the database name. The database name, whatever the thing you want, that you can make it. Let's see, just I'm making here it as a customer database, like or else bookstore I'm making. Bookstore I'm making. Name I'm making it as bookstore. Bookstore. Okay. So whenever we creating this database, like backend, it will generate it as two files. Whenever we are creating the database, backend, it will generate two files. By default, it will generate two files. One is like a MDF, second one is LDF. It will generate two files. Once again, I'm repeating two files. That is, one is MDF, second one is LDF. LDF. So MDF like LDF, these two files it will generate whenever we are creating any kind of database. It means to say, like if we create any kind of database also, the backend it will store the data in files format only. If we creating the database or if we creating the tables also, the tables of information in backend, it will store the tables is also stored in the files format only. Okay, so this MDF and LDF only it is having your data. So what is MDF? What is LDF? We will see it later, the 2 minutes after 2 minutes. So once again, I'm repeating, whenever we are creating any kind of database, if it is user like a user related database or system defined databases also, for each and every database, it is having the two files. Default, it is having the two files. Default, it is having the two files. One is MDF file and LDF file. LDF file. It means to say the databases of information is also stored in file format. Okay, so now let's see here. Simply, I have mentioned the name is bookstore. I have mentioned the name is bookstore. So for this bookstore, just now I said the two files, right? That is the two files here. This is the things. First one is logical name bookstore one, and second one is something it is having another name it is showing here, right? So these two files of information where it is storing is in this particular location it is storing. If you want, you can see it. Or else I don't want to store there. I want to store these files of information in like some particular location which I need to see for myself. Like instead of storing in C drive, like I'm storing in D drive, like a to seeing the myself of information. Okay, so let's see under this new folder, I'm storing that file, new folder 2. Even though this file also I'm storing under new folder 2. Okay, just simply click on OK. So the bookstore database here it is created. Here you can see the last option it is there bookstore database. Bookstore it is created. If you want to see that files, you can go with that particular location and see it. So new folder 2. Here you can observe two files. Two files it is generated. For first file .mdf, second file is .ldf. Okay, so MDF and LDF. The default size is 8 MB. The default file size is 8 MB. Okay, so MDF and LDF. This is auto growth. Like whenever the file it is reaching 8 MB, it will increase another 8 MB. Like that, it will increase the files. Okay, so now that information also, if you want, you can see that the database creation itself. Once again, just I'm showing high level point of view. This is not required to us, but I'm saying, okay, so here it is there, right? So initial size is 8 MB. Initial size is 8 MB. So next one here is next option here is auto growth and max size. Auto growth and max size. Auto growth is 6 to 4 MB. Whenever it reaches the 8 MB, automatically it will add another 64 MB up to unlimited. Like even though this, if you want to modify, that you can modify. That you can modify. Like up to 100 GB only it need to increase. Up unlimited, I don't want that. Okay, the file percentage, like whenever it's reach like a 64%, whenever it's reach 64% or 90% of data, 90% of information, it need to increase it. It need to increase. Such kind of options we can make it. So these, like usually we won't perform in the real time point of view. This will take care by DBA team. So we no need to go with that much deeper on top of it. This high level information is enough for us. So simply like I'm clicking on cancel. So here, why? Because of we store it as a already we have created bookstore database. And also like by writing the query representation, by writing the query, I'm thinking to create it as a database. So for that, the simple syntax is create database, database name, database name, database name. This is the syntax. This is the syntax. I will give time. No worry. I will give time and I will explain. I will give the notes also. Listen first. Create database. Like which database I'm thinking to create? Batch 8. Assume ADE batch 8 I'm thinking to create. Azure Data Engineering batch 8 I'm thinking to create. Azure Data Engineering batch 8 I'm thinking to ADE batch 8. Okay, let's see selecting that particular query. You can select that particular query and click on execute. So command completed successfully. Then you can come on to here and refresh this. Or else you can refresh this database's point of view. Now you can observe, is it created? Is ADE batch 8? Okay. Yes, it is created. This is the thing. This is the thing only we have created, right? So that is we can see in graphical representation part. Okay, so query representation and graphical representation, both the ways like this we can create the object. Clear? Any question? Any question? Now keep heading creating the database. You can write it the syntax and example. It's a general English only. Create database, database name. Okay, write it the syntax and example. How many are installed SQL Server up to now?
Yeah, I have been installed this.
Only Likita,
New installation.
2%.
I have installed as
No.
Okay. So like SQL Server, the like SQL, especially SQL, while I'm explaining, you people will feel it as this much easy. Like if you do the practice, then it will go with that much easy only. If you haven't do the practice, then like whenever you are doing the practice, you will get it as a n number of errors. Okay. So next points keep hitting database file groups. Database file groups. Whenever we are creating the database, the database, the database, it will generate it will generate two files by default. Two files by default. First one is MDF. Second one is LDF. Next, keep hitting MDF. MDF, LDF. First one, keep hitting MDF. MDF full form is MDF full form is master data file. Master data file. Here it will store actual data. Here it will store actual data. Next one, LDF. 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 LDF full form is log data file. Log data file. Here it will store. Here it will store transactional information. Here it will store transactional information. Here it will store transactional information. So what is actual data? What is transactional data? So actual data is nothing but whatever the data we are inserted. That is, we can say it as actual data. Transaction data is nothing but this particular person is updated the record. This particular person is inserted the record. This particular person at this time this record is inserted by him. This person is deleted by him. Like such kind of user related like a information to storing purpose. We can use it as a log information. Name itself it is the log table, log data file. Okay, transactional information that it will store under LDF file. Okay, clear? Okay, up to this you can do the practice today. Tomorrow we will meet on further. Any questions up to this part from anyone? Right? Yeah. Okay, guys, we'll meet on tomorrow. So